And in other news, there's been much attention lately on China's Xinjiang region over concerns about forced labor and human rights abuses. But a new book suggests forced labor in China is a widespread issue and not limited to Xinjiang. NTD's Chang Chun has more.
A book is bringing a face to forced labor victims in China. U.S.-based Chinese journalist Amelia Pang published her book titled Made in China earlier this year. It's about a Chinese prisoner, an SOS letter, and the hidden cost of America's thirst for cheap goods. The book spotlights a prisoner of conscience, Sun Yi. He was detained at the Masanja labor camp in China's northeast Liaoning province, all because he refused to give up his beliefs. He practices Falun Gong, a spiritual meditation system that teaches the principles of truthfulness, compassion, and tolerance. It's been brutally persecuted in China since 1999. Inside the labor camp, Sun was forced to create products out of raw material by hand. One of the products required kneading a type of fibrous cardboard to soften it. The material was used to make decorative paper mushrooms. The products were exported to Europe. Not long after Sun began to work, his hands were rubbed raw by the kneading, and his wounds soon became infected. Workers in the camp were given daily quotas to fill. Most days, Sun says he could only sleep around 2 to 4 hours a day in order to create enough products to fill his quota. He recounts being so stressed that he even dreamed of making the paper mushrooms. Eventually, Sun secretly started sneaking handwritten notes into boxes of Halloween decorations he packaged. In 2012, an Oregon woman found one of his notes in a box of foam gravestones. The resulting media reports led to widespread accusation over China's labor practices. Zhang Jing was also detained in the same labor camp. She says she endured a similar experience.
The raw materials used to make handcrafts were all made from cardboard. We had to knead it into paper as soft as tissue. Then we made them into flowers using glue. That glue is very toxic. I rubbed the cardboard into paper petals with my hands every day. Basically, my hands couldn't hold even chopsticks when eating anymore. The skin on my fingers was destroyed by the glue.
Zhang also practices Falun Gong and is from China's northeastern city of Dalian. Zhang now lives in the U.S. She says even now, whenever she sees peeled garlic in the supermarket, her fears and memories from inside the camp rush back to her mind.
I don't want to buy it because when I was detained in Masanja labor camp, I was forced to peel garlic. I had to peel several sacks of garlic every day.
Another Falun Gong practitioner named Yu Ming was an entrepreneur in China. Because of Beijing's persecution of Falun Gong, he spent nearly 12 years in Chinese prisons and labor camps. He says slave laborers ranged from 16 to 70 years old. All of them were forced to work at least 12 hours a day.
When there was too much work to do, prisoners were forced to work 24 hours, even 48 hours. Some prisoners were forced to sleep on the concrete floor or at their workstation.
You said every prison, every labor camp, and every detention center in China has been transformed into a factory using forced labor, adding that every prisoner is now considered a cash cow, though many of them fall ill or die.
The authorities do not check the prisoners' health at all. Even AIDS patients, prisoners with various liver diseases, or when prisoners catch a cold or run a fever, they still have to work on the assembly line.
In Masanja labor camp, Sun was often shackled by his hands and feet. At one point, he began a hunger strike to protest the abuse. But in response, he was force-fed through his nose. His mouth also was propped open by a metal gag, and hot sauce was poured into his eyes. In 2019, Pang went undercover as a businesswoman and visited a drug rehabilitation center in Shanghai. She observed trucks there coming and going once every 2 hours, seemingly transporting goods out of the facility. Pang says her investigation revealed an important point. Foreign companies are able to investigate whether their partner companies in China are involved in forced labor, but instead they turn a blind eye to suit their personal interests. Chang Chun, NTD News.